Alright, so if some of you are skeptical as to what this is, I'm going to be doing a review of Before the Fall Zero Prologue. It's basically a prequel to Attack on Titan, a manga. It just started, and this is like chapter 0, so I'm going to be talking about that. And if you're an anime only, then I highly recommend not checking this video out because I'm going to be talking about spoilers from the series. If you don't want to get spoiled, then definitely don't check this out. So pretty much you've been warned, and yeah, that's pretty much what this is going to be a review of. So this takes place 70 years ago, pretty much 30 years after the first encounter with the Titans, when, you know, it was 100 years ago when the Titans started off with their, I guess, massacre and whatnot. But this was 30 years after that. So that means that in between, you know, there's been, I guess, a rumor going on that there was an invasion 70 years ago, even after the 100 years. Because remember, they previously have stated that it was 100 years ago since the last time Titans had an encounter or got into the walls, but apparently that was just stricken down, and that's why really no one knows about it, because it was explained in the chapter. Anybody that was a survivor of this encounter, of this invasion, was pretty much gag ordered. It was stricken from the records. They wanted to act like this never happened. Again, that even further adds to there's a lot of suspicion within the government because they were responsible for this. Now, one of the things about it, first of all, even though it's a chapter 0 prologue, it was definitely very short. It was literally only 11 pages, and while I'm still excited because it's going to give us, like, you know, a prerequisite of what's to come, it still kind of is a little bit like, oh, only 11 pages. I believe the next chapters, though, from here on out, is going to be, you know, regular length, maybe 30 to 40 pages, I imagine, each chapter, so that's pretty good. But for an 11-page opening, it was definitely bare minimum. Now, when that big Titan showed up, at first, I'm not gonna lie, he had kind of like the hairline of the Armored, of like Reiner. It looked like he had like a hairline or something, but then when you see him and you see the full body, he looks nothing like that, and he kind of looks bald. I don't know if that was just like an art error or something, where there possibly 2 Titans there or something. I believe there was just one, but it was weird because when you first see him, he has like this hairline very similar to the Armored Reiner, and then he just comes out and he looks like he's bald and completely different. So it might have been just the art or something, but that did catch my eye. Now, the little kid that was pretty much eaten by him, even though it was off screen, the little kid that was terrorized and stuff like that, he looked anywhere from like Reiner to Erwin or something. Now, you may be saying, well, how the hell is that possible? It's 70 years ago that this story took place. You know, they would have been not even in their grandfather's ball sack. So pretty much what I'm saying is that when people are turned into Titans, because remember, it was already hinted by Ymir that she was around for 60 years, and Ymir looks like she's a teenager, maybe, you know, no older than 20 or something like that. So I'm guessing that whenever somebody gets Titan DNA, it either makes them have some sort of eternal youth, or it slows down the aging process dramatically. And that kid, he wasn't really eaten on screen. It's assumed that he was eaten, but like, it's not like they were holding back any type of, you know, they didn't want to make it too graphic, because then later on you see the religious person getting eaten. So it's a possibility that the Titan either took him, kidnapped him or something, and then is going to go on with him. But he definitely had a resemblance to either Reiner or Erwin. I'm leaning more towards Reiner, and again, the hairline thing, Reiner, maybe this is possibly the birth of how Reiner came to be, and Reiner actually isn't really his actual age. But then again, we also did see Reiner have an early, like a younger look, and then he kind of grew at the same point of Eren and them. So that might be a possibility that this is wrong, but still, it could be interesting that if they get the Titan DNA, maybe after a certain age, they stop growing. Maybe like they grow from a certain point and then like it slows down or something. Maybe there's a possibility that they could control their aging rate. So that's definitely something that caught my eye with this particular one. Is like the kid could just be a random kid that got eaten, could just be to show how graphic things are going to get in this particular invasion. But it also could be some hinting at other things. Now, the whole thing with religion and stuff, we see the religious person there saying, oh, Titan Sama. In the series, in Attack on Titan, it was kind of said that this is like this new thing, religion. But it's possibility that after this wave of the encounter, maybe the religious thing died down and they probably either went into seclusion, or not that many people were left. Maybe after this invasion happens, a lot of the religious people get eaten or something, because it wasn't like in the Attack on Titan original story, it kind of was hinted at basically, oh no, this religion just started up recently. So for them to be around, this also breaks that theory, and that also makes that the religious thing been around for a long time, who knows how much longer, and again, makes you think, what is their connection? Is it that they're the ones that keep on bringing these Titans forth? Do they have the means to make the Titans or something? Because if they've been around this long, it really makes you question, what is their involvement, and why do they seem to worship these Titans? Because she says, oh, Titan Sama, like if she's worshiping him, and it kind of looked like almost some Frankenstein creation, he's alive, he's alive. So maybe she had some sort of doing with him being brought there, or it was just possible that they just worship them and have this ideology that these Titans are actually malevolent creatures, or, you know, they're godlike or something. Overall, for a beginning prologue, chapter 0, it was way too short in my opinion. It just gives you barely a scratching of the surface. It doesn't even really begin to scratch the surface of what this is going to be about, but it's pretty much, you know, in a nutshell, going to be how we get these particular weapons, you know, how we get the 3D maneuver gear, because this was even before they had any means whatsoever to fight the Titans. They were pretty much going bare bones against them, and that's also going to be interesting to find out how did they defeat the Titans at this particular point, because was there maybe some sort of guy that was just like Eren and fought the Titans off back then that we don't know about? That really also brings up these questions of how they defeated the Titans back then if they didn't have the 3D maneuver gear. They possibly didn't even know about the nape of the neck at this point if they had absolutely no means of attacking them. So it really brings up a lot of questions that hopefully we get answers to within the process of this Before the Wall manga. But for a prologue, it was cool, but definitely way too short and really didn't give too much at all. It just started showcasing that this is kind of like when the Colossus first started showing up, except this one isn't nowhere near the size of the Colossus, and it really just doesn't show how he got in, because they were even like, you know, the wall hasn't been breached, so what's going on? So this is definitely an inside job again, and that also makes you think, so if the government is trying to hide this and they've stricken this from the records, maybe they have something big to do with this invasion as well. Definitely brings up a lot of questions. But for a beginning one, I give it maybe a 6.5 out of 10. It was fine. It wasn't anything like, you know, ecstatic or astonishing, but I'm just glad that we're going to have more Attack on Titan, because with this, the original manga, and also we're getting a Levi manga as well, pretty much an origin of Levi, we're going to have that manga as well. So we're going to be getting Titan 3 times a month, which is almost like having an Attack on Titan chapter weekly, which is freaking awesome. So you guys are going to be getting 3 Attack on Titan stories every single month, possibly even more if they come up with another different story. So it's almost like, yeah, Attack on Titan ain't weekly, but at the same time we're getting 3 stories, so it's almost like it's weekly, which is freaking awesome. You're definitely going to get reviews from me for all 3 of them, especially the Levi one. I'm really interested how they're going to handle it. Even though it's in a shoujo magazine, I mean, it's Levi, so it's going to be interesting. But yeah, that's all I really have. Let me know if you have any theories after reading this prologue, how the hell that Titan got in. Was that possibly Rainer or Erwin or anybody that, you know, we may know? And just your overall thoughts of this prologue so far. Definitely, it got me interested, but I can't wait for the next one, and hopefully the next one really starts to dive into everything that's going on. So I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.